second, but I'm back, and we're back. And Tara Dublin Rocks joining me, author of The Sound of Settling, and TaraDublinRocks.com, and of course Substack, which you should subscribe to as well. And now everything should be working fine.
I still see myself, but that's fine. I can hear you, which is
wait, 3, 2, 1, bang.
Oh, hey, we're all here. Hi.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. See, I can fix. Look.
I look little and tiny next to you, though. What can we do about that?
Oh, yeah, that'll expand. Let's see.
I look like my mom said I could stay up till 10.
Right. You're wee.
I'm a wee baby. Wait, I'm a petite flower. What if I do that? That's a little zoom. Well, wait, zoom out.
There you go.
Zoom out. There you go. A little better.
That's better. Yep.
Well, now we can properly start talking to each other, for fuck's sake, 15 minutes into my
That's
hour.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
13. But and part of that was you dropping out and coming back. Also, it only took me 3.5 minutes to fix my shit.
It was Cliff. That's fine. It's all Hi, everybody.
That's true. Hi, everybody. It's Tara. So, you obviously, I don't know, because you were going in and out on the guest making machine. How much you heard about Trump, like his falling into the trap quote, you know, where she set a metal trap for me, and then
we're gonna make America great again.
Right.
You know, to your point, okay. So things that I heard earlier, was that the lifelong claim that Trump doesn't drink, and he's also a lifelong liar.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder where the fly came. I don't know that we have ever seen him holding a cocktail.
Right.
But we've sure seen him holding a lot of cans of Diet Coke, and you don't know what's in there. Walt could have been spiking that Diet Coke for years. We don't know. We don't know.
Don and Eric could be like, you know, put a little bourbon, he won't notice. Just fix him one of those. They fixed him a girl drink at one point, no pun intended. You know, they fixed him one of those like frothy, sugary, you know, icy margarita kind of things. It's a virgin one, Dad. You'll love it. And then suddenly he's a little easier to deal with. And then how long?
Quieter. Maybe they slip a little Kahlua into his McDonald's shake. You know,
like Eric's over there going, I can't do this to my father. My father, I can't do this to my father. And Don's like, he used to give us Benadryl to keep us asleep in the thing. Like, we almost died 3 times. Like, all right, glug, glug. You know.
All right. Also, my theory is that Eric's father is Gary Busey. So Eric was probably already born addicted to everything anyway. So
buttered sausage. I'm addicted to buttered sausage. Buttered sausage.
A few years ago, I'll tell you, in 2017, when my older son, Jack, started Occidental College in Los Angeles, the whole family went down to see him off to college, which means spending time with my ex-husband and his girlfriend, which is a joy. But my younger son and I took some time together, and we drove PCH and went to the beach and all of that stuff. And while we were driving along PCH, Ben was like, maybe we'll see a famous person. And I was like, well, it's rare to see famous people when you're driving. And then there's this limo that's coming up on our left. He was, maybe that's a famous person. I was like, well, you know, when famous people are in limos, they usually keep the windows up. And as I'm saying, usually they keep the windows up. It starts passing me. The window is down, and it's fucking Gary Busey going,
hey.
And we were laughing.
Do you have any Grey Poupon for buttered sausage?
I would not put it past Gary Busey to rent a limo just to drive up and down PCH to freak people out.
PCH is Pacific Coast Highway for people in the chat room. Yeah.
He would do that, right? So anyway, between Donald Trump probably drunk on stage, go, we're going to make America great again. That and calling for the American version of Crystal Knocked.
Right.
Not excited about
the
this.
Purge for dummies.
You want to call it the Purge, that's fine. It's actually Crystal Knocked to the Jews. And here's the thing. We have that, and we also had, the pushing that Peter Thiel is pushing the lie that George Soros is buying up all of these radio stations to push Judaism lies and fake liberal media, blah, blah, blah. Do you know the Jews are like, what, 2.1% of the American population?
2.4, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not controlling shit, and our votes are not deciding this election.
You're controlling buttered sausage. That's what you're doing. You're controlling buttered sausage.
All right. Well, anyway.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, Eric Trump is 100% cocaine, and so is Don Jr. So anyway, between the Judaism and the
Uh-huh.
and all of the, between the Nazi hate speech and the obvious sundowning.
And the
Now he
buttered
did a
sausage.
lot of. Now that day he did two different things. That day he went to a rally and did a crazy, and then he did a town hall where he did more
That
crazy.
he didn't know it was a town hall again. They keep tricking him into these fucking town halls because they can't get the crowds, so they pretend it's smaller by telling him it's a town hall. And he was like,
in a smaller
venue.
because they
Right.
can't book the big venues that people line up. Did you see the crowd for Kamala Harris yesterday in Vegas?
Yeah.
They were lining up 8 hours ahead of time to get in, which is
And now they're
unheard of. It's wonderful.
The big myth, and by the way, in Vegas in this heat, but also the big myth that's going around the right wing vlogosphere and Twitterverse and whatnot is that they're bussing people in. That she's bussing in her people. Even Roseanne was repeating this bullshit. And you're like,
Every
hey asshole,
accusation's a confession.
there's spillover parking, and instead of making people fucking walk in the heat like Trump does, the campaign is paying for shuttles. They go from a parking lot to the actual venue. Air-conditioned shuttles to get people from there to the thing, and they just have them running all day like fucking adults that actually give a shit. That, I don't know, maybe want their fucking people to be able to vote. Maybe in his defense, in Trump's defense, maybe you need advanced heat stroke to vote for him anyways. Like you have to be like sunbaked.
At this point, yes. At this point, yes. How dare Democrats be thoughtful? I don't know.
Right.
How dare?
It's like vaccines.
Have
I don't know. Maybe we want our voters fucking alive. Right. Yeah.
God damn it. I wrote a thing on my Substack that I hope people share because it's a clarion call for my fellow white women because I have been tasked as someone who has some visibility and looks like this. I may be Jewish, but the first thing you notice about me is not anything but the fact that I am this color. So because I am this color and have somewhat of a platform, there are people who have tasked me with gathering my fellow white women to ask them, what the fuck are you thinking? So here's what I'm going to ask and what I'm starting to ask everybody because we have 36 days left. We have 36 days left. So women, if you're not a white woman, maybe you can still listen and then maybe pass this along to white women that you know, or just pass along my Substack. It's a shareable thing right now. But here's what I'm going to ask you. I'm asking you to think about what your number one issue is for you. What are you big mad about? What you're most mad about? Now make that your second biggest issue because your first biggest issue, white women, needs to be you. You and your bodily autonomy and the future of what women will experience in this country. It is your freedom as you have always known it in your life. Do you still want that? You want to move about freely in this world and cross the state lines as you like and make any medical appointment you need when you need it without the government going, what are you doing?
Yep.
Do you want the government tracking your granddaughter's periods? Because they want to. JD Vance is totally up for that. So I'm asking all women, take a moment, put your number one issue on the back burner because Vance and Trump don't care what your issue is. They don't care. But Walz and Harris, they absolutely do. And so when you're watching the debate tomorrow night, I want you to remember which one is a Nazi who thinks that childless people are worthless and should pay more taxes, or the person who used to be a coach and is like, rah, rah, we love you and we want everybody to start their family whenever they feel like it. White women, stop voting for Republicans who will not fight for you. Democrats will fight for you.
Yes, agreed.
And we have to reiterate, and I'll say this, voting Republican is not a healthy thing for women. A vote for Republicans is a vote for Putin and Project 2025, and a vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz is a vote for women and the future of this country and our freedom as we have always known it. And when we say we're not going back to a time when any human being that walks the land of this country was enslaved. We're not going back to that. We're not going back to when there were segments of this population who didn't have any freedoms. We're not going back to that. We are all enjoying the freedom of choice and the freedom of human rights that we have been enjoying our whole lives. That's what's at stake. So people, please remember that. Because as we talk about the cult of personality and Trump is sundowning and he's a mushmouth and he can't say this and JD Vance can't order a donut or whatnot. What is at stake is truly America's sense of freedom as we have always enjoyed it.
Right.
That's true. It's when we say we're fighting for democracy, we're not fucking around.
I'm sure we
So
have, yes, no, awesome, well said, very concise. That shit is tight. A couple
and
things.
then the other thing is,
Mhm, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Once we have the Democratic ticket inaugurated, you can barrage them. You can be mad. You can demand. You can all of those things because they will hear you and listen to you, and because they care. The Republicans
Right.
don't give a shit. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. One of the reasons, allegedly, and this is why Trump keeps bringing it up about like why women of a certain echelon monetarily vote for Republicans, which again, majority white country, about 60% plus. So the majority of them that are going to lean this way, and again, we're self-selecting a smaller and smaller group of people that we're talking about here. The reason that they lean Republican is this illusion of security, that they give a shit about stopping crime at the border. That's why he keeps pushing this whole thing, because what he lost with women over Roe, he thinks he can gain back from women by, oh my God, this brown person's going to jimmy my window and come in and assault me. And after it happens, I'm not going to have any recourse, right? Because they're guaranteeing that as well. So that's the plan, that's the plot, that's what drives them. And I would like to remind those ladies that it was Donald Trump on his last day in office who put a moratorium on deporting Venezuelans for a year and a half. And then at the end of that year and a half, they get put at the back of the line of people who are in line to be deported if they deserve to be deported, so that it takes years and years. They're still here, those folks that he's warning you about, that they're supposedly from mental institutions and insane asylums. He went, give them a year and a half before you even start chasing, and then they get a head start. And at that point, they still go to the back of the line. So he doesn't give a shit about that. He wants to use that fear of somebody jimmying your window to jimmy your window himself. That's what he's doing.
And the other reminder is that Donald Trump is the reason you don't have a border bill.
Right.
Because Donald Trump told Republicans to vote against the border bill.
Right.
That a President Kamala Harris would be happy to sign because he was afraid it would make his campaign look bad. And it's not just me saying it. People like shitty Republicans are saying it. Like James Lankford said it. So if they're admitting that Donald Trump is the one who killed the border bill, don't you want to vote for Kamala Harris? Because she's gonna sign that border bill that's gonna keep out all the brown people you hate, or at least make it a little harder for them to get into the country. Okay, haters. So again,
well, and you'll notice the other issue they have. The other issue that they have, and again, you can look for the silver lining in some of his messaging and where it's failing and why he feels like he has to go into how much he hated overtime and shit like that. Why he's going to why he's run out of.
Right?
Well, part of it is like the drug, like it's almost like a drug that increasingly has to be more intense or you can't get the high anymore. That's part of what's going on with his shit, because he's got to be even more incendiary just to even draw attention to himself. So he's going to do that anyways. But part of it is also because his argument has broken down. The reality is why he brings up the Congo and black people coming across, or people from insane asylums again, which is him thinking that people seeking asylum are coming from asylums because he's a fucking moron. But the reason he brings up black people from the Congo,
the United States,
they have a real problem. They have a real problem with their get out the vote thing, is that a good portion of Americans aren't scared of Latinos for good reason. They either know, are married into families that have people of Latino descent, are around them all the time, work with them, know people with Mexican or Spanish sounding last names on the regular, so it's not shocking as we're not talking like somebody who's clicking in Swahili. it's not that foreign to them. They're much more comfortable. I'm dead serious. And so
I know
work.
you are. It's just
it doesn't work.
You have to be carefully taught to hate and fear. You were not born hating anyone or believing anything. All of that was imprinted upon you by the haters who raised you. So, this is in the United States of America. Again, I know it'll sound naive, but we're supposed to welcome all and get along with everybody. That's why this country was founded, even though this country was stolen from brown people by white people. So anyway,
no.
Here we. No.
No.
White people
No.
didn't come and steal this land from brown people?
No, there was a war. And again, there's no different from the Iroquois crossing.
Here first?
Wait, hold on.
Who was on this land first? Not us.
The Chinese and the
first.
Vikings. That's who was here first. That's who was fucking
Still,
first.
Still not us. Still
No,
not
it doesn't.
us
Well, Jews, you didn't come till way later, anyways. Like you're not even involved in this part of it.
Again, when I talk about us, I don't think of myself as a Jew first. I think of myself as a regular American.
Let me explain what I mean, and you'll hold on. Let me
I
explain
know
what
what
I mean.
you mean. I know.
Do you?
I know what you
Do
mean.
you?
Yes.
Do you?
I do. I do.
Okay,
I do.
all right.
I do. But let's wrench it back to what happened this weekend, which is Jews are being threatened in this country. All people of color, all minorities are being threatened in this country by a group that's not the majority anymore. So that's weird, right? Are white Christian Republican men the majority in this country? I don't think they are.
No, and here's the thing. White Christian evangelicals especially are not even the majority of Christians in the country. They have always operated from a minority position. And that's one of the reasons why they like the Electoral College versus the popular vote, because they couldn't win on a majority or a popular level ever anyways.
And that's why we need to get rid of the Electoral College, because it's antiquated.
That's a great conversation for another time. Absolutely. But it's not going to happen anytime soon. In the meantime, we're going to win it too.
Well, we need to, and I wrote about this yesterday. We really need to be focusing on the down ballot races as much as we're focusing on the big race. And every single race right now matters. Every seat in the House, every seat in the Senate. We need to get back our House majority, hold on to our Senate majority, and hopefully even increase it if we can, because Kamala Harris wants to get rid of the filibuster. And that way we can actually get back to living like we're supposed to, instead of living in the fucking Handmaid's Tale. So,
right. Women, let's clarify too. Right now in America, right this second, not if Trump gets reelected, if JD Vance is in there, if Project 2020 or 2025 happens, right fucking now, women are second-class citizens in this country because they have to choose what state they want to live in based on what rights they would like to retain. And men do not. Men are first citizens. Women are second-class citizens because of the ruling and the vote that happened in 2016. That ship sailed the minute Trump got in and the Heritage Foundation started handing him a list of fucking who he was going to put on not just the Supreme Court, but also the federal bench so that they could bounce these fucking anti-woman, anti-choice, murderous bills up to the top so they could have women dying of ectopic pregnancies and go, well, that's what you get for the fucking Apple shit, lady. And that ship sailed in 2016. And some folks, I got to say, some folks want to put this kind of idea that that's vote shaming. You're goddamn right it is. If you voted third party or you went soft and didn't vote for Hillary and left it blank, you allowed this motherfucker the tiny little window he needed to win the Electoral College and lose the popular vote by 3 million fucking votes. Every vote counts. Every state, it was in 2016, it was like a 2-vote margin that he won Michigan. You know, I want to say
it's crazy.
2 votes per precinct. 2 fucking people per precinct. If they'd have voted for Hillary or not voted for him or had not voted for Jill Stein or whatever the fuck they did, would have changed the course of the SCOTUS and Roe v. Wade would still be the law of the land.
And we'd be enjoying Hillary Clinton's nice, quiet second term right now. This is why the Harris campaign. This is why the campaign has kicked down a whole bunch of money to the DNC to distribute through all 50 states to make sure every single Democratic race has funding, because it matters all the way down, and particularly now, all the way down to the school boards and who's running for school board. It is vitally important that you vote on your entire ballot, all the way down ballot, that you vote for Democrats, even if you haven't heard of them, because Republicans want to get rid of the Department of Education. The superintendent of Oklahoma Public Schools
EPA
wants to take it's insanity what's happening in Oklahoma. Aside from the fact that he wants to take public money and buy Bibles and put them in all classrooms as textbooks.
Like he wants to turn our schools into motels.
Where is Secretary Cardona? And why hasn't
Right.
he removed that superintendent already? Put him in you want to open up a charter biblical school in a cave somewhere where all you want to teach is biblical bullshit and also pay taxes because you shouldn't be exempt. I don't care. But none of your Christian cult bullshittery should have any impact on our public schools or our government. Keep it away. It doesn't belong in Congress and it doesn't belong in public schools. Go do your private shit somewhere private. I don't care if you want to be in a cult. This is not a Christian nation. This is a free country. Free, which means you're not allowed to enforce your bullshittery on anybody. It makes me angry. So
Right.
when people brag about, when Donald Trump brags about, oh, I'm going to get rid of the Department of Education, that's not a good thing. The Department of Education isn't a cult. The Department of Education just wants to make sure all American children get a real education and not that, dinosaurs lived 3,000 years ago. Like things make, like this crazy shit, cult shit that people believe. It's like if the only thing you read is the
people,
Bible,
you mean
and the
Roseanne.
only person you listen to and Trump, it's also like,
right. Yeah. So
I'm smart people.
Roseanne is a Kabbalah Christian Jew. Like if you listen to how she actually talks, which is, by the way, which
None
doesn't
of those
exist,
words
is fucking
belong together.
it's just lunacy. Let me that's the fun part.
It's
but
bananas.
she's a big she and her, thanks to her son, she believes that humans and dinosaurs walked together and that there was a giant mud flood like the flood of Noah that buried the history of the world, and a UN-like organization and mixed with the Illuminati that's been running everything ever since, I guess, even the shit she likes. That's the part that I don't get. So they let Reagan get elected,
but met the Da Vinci Code by Pixar.
Yes,
that's about what makes sense. That makes sense.
More like South Park. more like if somebody like story roofied the Simpsons writers and said write a documentary but keep all the jokes. Like it's just like it's lunacy. But the point is, she's indicative of these what I would call like salad bar Christians that are around. And Trump is one of these people and so is Rusty Trombone, and so is Jordan Peterson. None of them are, first of all, I personally believe that any orthodoxy is antithetical to democracy. You can't be orthodox and participate in a democracy, because to be orthodox, you have to believe in that above everything else at the exclusion of other people's rights. In biblical law, or I don't know, Odinic law or some shit, or you have to believe in the Thule Society like fucking Hitler did. But you got to believe that it's your way or the fry way, right? That you get cooked.
But it's crazy.
It is.
Did I not see a video of Russell Brand in his tidy whities baptizing people?
Yes.
Blessed are the man buns, for they will release our scalps.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Right.
Blessed is our fruit of the loom.
Wait a minute.
It is also like the fruit from God.
So it's like a wet t-shirt contest I can't get in trouble for. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Blessed are my city tattoos that don't mean fuck all.
Right. Like he went to the tattoos, even like he went to like a pickup artist tattoo parlor and went, chicks like it when you got the fucking 30 seconds to Mars, and you should have something written on the inside of your bicep in either Sanskrit or Chinese or and then on like somewhere on your abdomen near your dick. I recommend like hieroglyphics, right, or some Egyptian symbol that you can tell her a story about.
And don't forget about the barbed wire right here on your upper bicep, because you're tough. What the? It's like I feel like Russell Brand and Andrew Tate go to the same tattoo artist, probably.
Yeah, I like, again, I haven't seen that many of his, but I Tate's, but Russell wears his his little cut off tank top sometimes, and you can see all of them, and they all look like pseudo religious doodles.
Yeah, they are. It's just none of it means anything, and it's such bullshit. And I'm so people who cannot cope with reality in whatever
Right.
way they decide not to cope. It's, it's sad after a while, and it's just, but also gives us plenty of material to laugh at, because why? Why is it hard?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it hard for you to accept reality? You don't have to like it all, but it's really important that you accept it, because the reality that's going to bear down on everybody in a little over a month is going to knock a lot of people sideways. Because
that's where I was getting to
there's
when
a
I was
lot
talking
of
to Cliff
loss
earlier.
coming your way.
Right. That's what I was talking about when I was talking to Cliff earlier, was this idea that that they're looking for the next grift already. That stuff that Rusty Trombone is doing, and like, because right now, if you go on the, like, I do Glenn Beck clips every so often, because there's this, like, he's like the mid-rung on the bullshit story. So if it reaches him, it's about to be a soft talking point on Gutfeld and all these other stuff. And if you want to know where it came from in its dumbest, clearest form, the only slightly distilled toilet alcohol version of it is going to be Glenn Beck's show. He's going to say the stupid version of it with all the dumb details that the people at Fox go, yeah, don't mention that part. It makes it sound nuts. He leaves that shit in. Okay. He has been doing specials lately on the end times. Multiple ones. Like, and like right up there with like Robert, what's his name, the farting preacher that they used to remember. One of the original first viral videos was about this preacher who used to speak in tongues, and somebody put fart noises in every time he would squish up his face. It's so fucking Tilton. Thank you, Robert Tilton. Thank you. Somebody wrote that. It's so fucking good. Go watch Farting Preacher. It is. Oh God, it's so good. But yes, the prison toilet alcohol version of all the stupid shit, that the Kool-Aid that they're drinking everywhere, that is intoxicating right-wing media, comes through Glenn Beck. And he has been doing, I've counted 5 full 45-minute plus podcast / specials that he's done about these are the end times. And he's had like the asshole mathematicians who think they've done the Old Testament math and like, yep, Wednesday, which is just fucking stupid. Even if you believe, it's even more, it's more offensive if you are religious, because it literally tells you you can't know. And they're like, well, God's full of shit. Like, it's hilarious. But he's been
why?
5 of these fucking things, hour-long things about the end times. And and as he's done them, look at Roseanne's guests. She's had 6 or 7 flat earthers and end times. We all live under the fucking firmament, all that kind of shit. It starts to billow up. Now, I remember when I was a kid, in the late 70s, this shit happened because of gas prices going up and the Iranian hostage crisis and all that kind of stuff. There was this huge explosion, people don't remember, from like 78 to 1981 of evangelical end of the world stuff. Now, it translated later into, Cameron making the Terminator movies and that kind of stuff. That's how it worked its way into the zeitgeist and became pop culture. But during that window, when we were seeing very similar things, lots of blowing up in the Middle East, the Cold War was going on. The Russians were making their first moves with what would effectively later become the CSTO, their own treaty to fight against NATO. They were starting to build it right about then. There was all this about nuclear proliferation and building up on both sides. And in 1978 to 1981, there was this blossom of these dumb motherfuckers coming out thinking that they carried the 2 and crossed that, scratched this out, and suddenly Jesus is going to be here Wednesday the 6th. And after that happened, I have to say, there's a lot of fear at the time that if it didn't happen, these fuckers would do themselves in or other people in. And because of Jonestown, because of the Manson family, and since then we've had, the fucking Waco shit, and we've had the T and Bo, the Heaven's Gate cult, cut your balls off, put them in your Nikes, and wait for the boat, right? I have to say that at a certain point, like, I feel better about that bullshit now because it's cartoon. It's a cartoon version of what it was. In the same way that like Trump is the cartoon Hitler. Like he's never ever going to have the power that Hitler had. He can come close to it, and there's worry about it. And he talks the same. He definitely uses the same phrase. But no matter how charismatic as people think he is and stuff, he's a fading dunderhead. And when Hitler was kicked out the first time and had a big comeback, which was really awful. He was way younger. He went to jail, but he was a relatively young man. He was not an old fart on a hard fade with a shit diet who'd lived his entire life with a silver spoon up his ass and so had access to every calorie within a mile and a half of him his entire fucking life, right? And there is no coming back from this. That's why I think they're looking for the next. They're like, you know, like monkeys won't let go of one limb until they get a hold of the next one.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of monkey branching going on the right wing because they're looking at Trump and going, fuck, man, what do we do?
I don't know what they do, but I do know that prior to this time in our lives, they never would have accepted this ticket, ever.
Never.
The Republican Party of 10 years
Would have
ago
been
would
horrified.
not recognize itself at this point. I really believe that. I really believe because, hey, look at that. You made a difference for me.
There you go.
So, to me, it's they've reached the point of no return, and they're so far dug in. What are they going to do now? We're 36 days out. They can't abandon him, and what can they possibly do? So at this point, for the next 36 days, it's going to be a lot of distraction and turning up the fear volume, turning up the heat under the fear shit bigly, so that boils over. They're coming for your guns. All the black people are crossing the border to take your jobs. They're going to rape your women. It's all going to be scary, freaking out stuff because he's a caged animal right now.
Yeah.
And he's backed. The cage door isn't quite closed, but he's backed in there along with JD. They don't have anything.
Right.
They have nothing to run on. All they have are fear tactics and distractions and lies and projection language. The polls aren't in their favor. They are losing support from within their own party. And we have big name Republicans speaking out, not just against them, but fully endorsing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And tomorrow night is the People's debate. So
it's going to be, I'm looking forward to it. I will be covering it with a group of comics live, and then I'm going to do it after that's over, after it's officially done. On my own channel, I will do what I've done with the other debates, which is start from the top, and we'll go through line by line and do a full breakdown of all of
That'll
it.
That'll be delightful.
Yeah. And
as much as we enjoyed the presidential debate, I think I predicted going in what it would mostly be. I don't truly know what to expect tomorrow night because I'm not familiar with J.D. Vance as a debater, but I've listened to Tim Walz speak. I have been in a room with Tim Walz, listening to him speak, watching the audience react to him, and I know there won't be an audience tomorrow night. But what we've seen between the reactions to both of these tickets, the way we've seen the crowds react and the way we've seen human beings react. By the way, the beautiful trolling from Harris Walz yesterday, swinging by from Manti Brothers when they wouldn't let J.D. Vance in the door. Delightful. Yeah. And when everyday people are pushing back against J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, that's not them doing wrong by them.
Right.
That's an act of resistance. That is an act of resistance that matters. And it says we will not tolerate this Nazi shit. I love it.
Kelly in our chat just brought up on Twitch. Hi, Twitch people. Throw some emotes.
Hi, Twitch people.
Yeah. Hype train. By the way, hit the like. I had to restart the thing, so hit a fresh like on there to let us know you're there. Don't forget TaraDublinRocks.com, Substack, and
while you're there.
and get her book over there. Now, Kelly brought up the fact that Vance's debate prep is Alina Habba. Like, right. I'm like, are you just trying to make him come across as more of a prick? You know what I mean?
What is she gonna do? Habba the Jut? She bought herself a vodka
no idea.
Stays. What are they going to do? What are they doing? What is she going to tell them?
So Joe in our chat is saying, Al, please explain what you know about the Permane Brothers story. It's a super easy breakdown. Permane Brothers is a restaurant chain in Pennsylvania, very like big in Pittsburgh. Holy shit! Like after a comedy
Big,
night,
fucking delicious, awesome sandwiches.
And it's like a whole meal in a diaper. It's just this giant pita bready thing, and it's got fries in it and everything. It's ridiculous. It's a heart stopper.
Delightful.
It's but when you're drunk in Pittsburgh and you're bar hopping, because there's a line of bars in fucking Pittsburgh where there's a bar on every floor of these 3-story buildings, and people like bar hop up and down. It's like that old game of with the like the video game with Godzilla and King Kong, and you climb up the building and you punch the glass.
Oh,
and
like Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage. Yeah, it's like Rampage but with bars. And then, but at the end of the night, basically, there's a Permane Brothers at the end of each street, and it's basically so you have something to throw up once you're drunk. And they just people hoover these giant sandwiches down, and people are waiting for their fucking car, like and it became my opening bit whenever I played the Pittsburgh Improv, because it was such a ubiquitous experience, right? Great people, great places, but ultimately all it was that the Trump campaign thought they could just barge in and film without asking permission or clearing the site or doing any of the prep, and they can't. They didn't get rejected because of politics. They got rejected because they can't fucking function as a campaign, because they can't just play by baseline rules, and they can't just do these kind of takeovers or places, or assume they have the right to just film anywhere they fucking want and use it in campaign ads. And there's a reason why companies avoid that shit and have a policy about it. And then the Harris campaign just made a request. What they wanted to go to one, they called ahead. They said, hey, would it be okay? If it's not, we'll be fine. And they were allowed to go in, because that's all you got to do. And if Vance and his people had called ahead, there would have been none of this shit. But half the staff wouldn't have shown up. They're just dicks. And the same thing and the problem is, word has gotten out because of that donut shop fucking thing, that they're like, yeah, don't just let him walk in. This will be fucking awkward, and it'll turn into something, and we get death threats, and nobody needs that shit. So the first thing is refuse. That's everybody's right. Unless they specifically request and give like a full notice, a couple of days ahead of time and arrange for it, then fuck you. And most businesses, by the way, it should be like that with political campaigns. If they're rolling in there and they're just with cameras like, hey, what are you shooting? We're shooting, he's running for office. Well, go outside, because we're not, this is a private establishment that is not political. It's a fucking restaurant. Go outside. And you can shoot on the street all you want. We can't do anything about it, but no. And if you want to come in, fucking call. Arrange it. Don't be an asshole.
But again, with these bullies and the way that this campaign operates, this is almost better for them in their minds, because now they can go, the liberals wouldn't let us in. So this is the kind of
problem is
shit
Permane Brothers isn't liberal.
This is what we get.
Yeah. They're just normal.
Right. But this is the footage that we get from the Trump-Vance campaign, instead of the promised footage from Arlington that they still haven't produced over the alleged scuffle when it came to that photo op that they staged there. And they said that they had video exonerating their staffer. Where is it? We've never seen it, because it doesn't fucking exist.
That's right.
So instead they go and do shit like this to distract, and then they can point to me like, they kept us out because they don't like us, they're fucking liberals. No, it's just because you don't think any rules apply to you. That's a bully mentality. And the bully mentality of bulldoze your way in and pretend you're going to apologize later when you never will.
I just saw it go by in the chat room, but somebody just pointed out like the black barber shop, where they weren't going to do a campaign event. They were going to do a thing about a political thing about the economy. But it wasn't going to be one campaign coming down there. The idea is that they want to talk about local economy, almost like the local news does it. And this guy welcomed them in, and it turned out to be the Trump campaign. And they're just using the fucking site and going, black barbers love us. Right, black barber? What's your name again?
Well,
black barber likes me.
I mean,
it's
Kamala
fucking
Harris
gross. It's so fucking gross.
Too, so. And also, just all of the false equivalents. Like, why doesn't Kamala Harris do interviews? I'm like, she's doing a ton of interviews. She's just not doing them with anyone you know or pay attention to. And then they were like, well, why won't you do a Fox News debate? And she was like, I will. And Trump was like, I won't. So
Yeah.
stop it.
Well, because he
Stop.
won't let
like,
it be Brett Baer
a
and
fucking coward.
McCallum or whatever, right? But also, when it comes to the sort of like bully politics or whatever, I don't think they can afford to ask in a lot of these things. I think the Harris campaign is getting a lot of yeses, and the Trump campaign is getting a lot of nos because of their history in events, not paying for security, just all the kind of shitty secondary problems with them barging into someplace. And unless the owner is a total sycophant who will pick up the fucking tab and make his staff clean up afterwards, and and not pay him overtime, people don't need that shit.
It's well, of course, Trump doesn't want to pay anybody overtime because he doesn't want to pay anybody.
Right.
He's so cheap, he squeaks. And it's like Kamala Harris says, he inherited hundreds of millions of dollars and then pissed it all away, is essentially what he did. He lost it all because he's a terrible businessman who makes horrific investments and is really bad at everything that he does. And now he's selling gold watches in a money laundering scheme.
Oh my God.
Because he needs money to pay his lawyers because he's a fucking felon.
There are no
sentencing.
God damn it. There are no billionaires. There are no billionaires that sell silver coins at a 60% markup with their face on them. Not
NFTs
a one.
And Bitcoin and
it's
fucking
money laundering.
Autographed
These are
Bibles
all
and gold shoes.
All of these things, by the way, this will be a giant RICO DOJ thing. They're going to bust the people who arranged this shit in about 9 months. And then there's going to be a huge fucking trial about how all the same company that arranged for the watches, that arranged for the coins, that arranged for Melania's fucking stupid necklace, that got, that created the funding behind 45 books and paid for it with fucking crypto, is all
money
Saudi
laundering.
And Russian money. And it's all or Chinese oligarch money. Like it literally, that's where it's all going to come in. And that's going to be. Remember when I was pointing a little bit ago to that whole like Sam Bankman-Fried, the guy who got arrested for the big crypto thing, and it was one of the biggest. Like it collapsed the price of Bitcoin and basically kept it where it's never going to break 150 ever. If it breaks 100, it'll be a miracle. They were already, it's going to go to 1 million, and it's never going to happen because nobody trusts it anymore. And they don't trust it because of somebody like Sam Bankman-Fried and the fact that the feds were able to look into their accounts when supposedly you're not able to see anything. They figured out how to do it. And all the criminals, the soft criminals who actually have a life, if you're a cartel, you don't give a fuck. But if you're a soft criminal who's like Menendez or somebody, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to gold and cash. And they got out. I want physical currency or I'm not touching shit anymore. Trump,
that's my whole thing too. If I can't hold the money, I don't believe it's real.
Right. So. Eric and Don Jr., a fucking week after Sam Bankman-Fried, after they learned his name, started this plan. They're like, oh my God, look at the billions this dude is making. We could set up something like this and people could funnel money into this. And we could put some of it to the campaign. It'd be your money, you're loaning to the campaign. They could, we could get around campaign finance laws by them just dumping money because they're buying shit. They're buying crypto. What you do with it is up to you. And then we'll set up a thing where we'll pay for ads using crypto and nobody will know where the fucking money came from. And it'll be amazing. And then a week later, Sam Bankman-Fried gets arrested and the whole thing goes to shit and they've already started this fucking ball rolling. And so this world financial, like conservative financial thing that he's doing, this DeFi scheme that he's putting, it's such bullshit, but it's based on the same model. It's based on the same model that Sam Bankman-Fried got arrested on. And it's designed, the people running it ran an app called Dough, D-O-U-G-H, money, and that got hacked and lost $2 million of their primary investment, which was like $3 million. They literally lost it all. And Trump hired those fuckers to come over and run his DeFi thing. Let me tell you, do you know how excited I am for next year because that,
all of
ladies
it,
and gentlemen,
they're all gonna find out at the same time, which is gonna be glorious. Hey, how's his Trump stuff doing? How's Trump media doing today? Is it under 12 yet?
Well, it's
right.
Let's see. We'll look up.
Because the last time, I think on Friday, it closed at like $12.
No,
somewhere around 12.
He's dumping it. So he's pumping it before the. I'll show you. They're pumping it up before the election. So they're getting the. So what happened was the guys who bought he ripped off the guys who created the idea, the two apprentice guys who came with him with the idea, and then he screwed them out of their holdings, and they couldn't sell until last week, so they got out immediately when it was like $15, and it dropped down to like 13, 11 or something. Now it's up to 15.67 again. Hold on, I'll show you.
Ooh, 15. Ooh.
15, right. It's gone up a dollar today. Let's see with the week. There you go. So see, he's
a successful businessman. Said no one ever except him.
Okay, and let me show you how this works too. See this? See that? Those are infusions. This is how you know someone is pumping a stock. You can literally see. It's like they're going.
Come on, little buddy.
They're doing direct transfers, direct transfer, trying to keep this. Yeah, they want it to be above like $20. That's the magic number before during the election. So they're going to try and dump money into it. The problem is it ain't worth shit. And so what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of people getting really nervous when it hits about $16, and they're going, fuck it. Okay, I can make more. I can make 10 cents on the dollar more than I had. For every dollar I have in, I can get $1.10. Fuck it, sell. I'm out. Because it's going to fall apart right after the election, and he's going to lose. And then this thing is going to fucking crater. And they know it.
It's
now,
true.
What I wanted to show you, this is, and by the way, he's keeping it afloat by saying he's not selling. Let me tell you something. The minute he says he's selling, he has to sell it. He has to sell it before he says so. And if he does it, he violates SEC rules. If he says he's going to sell it and then sells it, everybody else is going to go, fuck, and dump. And so he's stuck. He can't move on it. So all he gets to do, ladies and gentlemen, all he gets to do between now and like the end of the year is watch it go to nothing and know that in February, in theory, he was worth $6 billion from this stock. And in December, his holdings are worth less than what he owes the state of New York. See what I mean? Less. It's still going to cost.
I mean,
it's so nice.
Also, at the same time, today it was announced that Twitter has depreciated in value to a quarter of what Elon paid for. It's worth like $10 billion now when he paid like $40 billion. So sell, Elon. I'm sorry, your name is Leon now. Sell it to Mark Cuban. I want Mark Cuban to buy Twitter, but
here's the thing. He didn't buy it. He's worth $200 billion, and it wasn't even his money. He didn't buy it for its worth as a business. He bought it for its leverage in American politics to help this fucking asshole.
Now he's going to get in a lot of trouble legally because what he's doing, election interference, is a federal crime.
Especially when the money came
from the indictment. Let's go. I want Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, all of those fuckers. I want them all gone. I want them wiped
it's gonna be so good.
Social media. Let's go. What we got?
By the way, that's not the least of it. I just want to play this little piece for you. This is the Trump at his most sane.
Remember, there's a hat that's made that sells like crazy. Oh, there's a fly. Oh, I wonder where the fly came from.
Your ass.
See, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have had a fly up here. You're changing rapidly, but we can't take it any longer. We can't take it any longer.
That's it. That's that.
Take what? What can't we take any longer? The smell that he walked.
Right. Yes. Apparently, 2 years ago he wouldn't. Like 2 years ago he ran out of soap. What the fuck?
And 2 years ago, I still reached behind and washed my own ass.
You're declining rapidly, meaning either Wisconsin or the Wisconsin Republican Party who put on this event. Like 2 years ago when I was here, I wouldn't have had a fly on my thing, but now there's flies here because the country is a shithole overwhelmed with flies. Like I'm dead serious. Like, do you know how fucking
I know that you're
and
serious.
stupid?
The reason we know. There are people who think that Democrats controlled Hurricane Helene to hit red states, to wipe out MAGA. Somebody.
Right. Yes, I saw that.
That it's like God, it was God's will to wipe out MAGA or something, or it was God. What? Or Democrats can control the weather?
DARPA.
Do you think that we have a machine like we're like a James Bond villain or something?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What?
Yes, they do.
What?
They do.
No.
Again, this is the Kabbalah Christian sideline end times.
I just want it makes me want to put my head down.
Roseanne Flat Earther crowd.
We can't. If we could control the weather.
DARPA is the company that HARP is what they use. DARPA is the organization behind it. Yeah, people are like HARP, pal, HARP. Yes, I know.
I'm so tired. I am so tired of MAGA stupid becoming a talking point for anybody. I wrote a blog about that, the one before the one that's on my Substack now. Because the one now that's at the top of my Substack is the clarion call to white women. But the one after that is the MAGA stupid making my brain cry. Because the things that get floated and picked up by the corporate media are pathetic. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It should be, by the way, I'm sorry. It should be embarrassing to whatever's left of the Republican Party that these are the stories that float to the top, that this is what the Republican Party has become. And I don't know how they ever get it back when you have,
Thank you very much.
Both of the Republican Party endorsing Kamala Harris. And you have athletes, I don't know how you ever look at this man at this point now and go, yep, still voting for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's another example for you. Another example for you. This is in Warren, Michigan. This was the argument that like this event and the speech he gave right before are the ones that I think I will present as Exhibit A and B, subsection 3 of Trump was drunk all day.
And sundowning. And so alcohol on top of whatever medication he might be on.
I think it's untreated PSD is making him drink and he's taking painkillers because he's old. And I think that mix is a horrible cocktail, and it's not good for anybody his age, much less somebody that they are absolutely either he's running himself ragged or they're doing it for him. I don't want to call about this whole elder abuse bullshit because he's making his own fucking choices. I just don't think he's capable of making them. But this is Marsha Blackburn led this thing in Michigan, and it was supposed to be a rally that was too small a crowd, so they turned it into a town hall, and he hates it when they do that. But they're basically prepping him for another debate in case he has to have one. They're hoping the town hall will substitute instead of debates, and they're terrible. So this is somebody asking him what his favorite American car is.
First off, I want to say,
I remember this
you and your family are in me and my wife's daily prayers.
Thank you.
May God continue to watch over you.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
So my name's Todd. I'm from Shelby. Unfortunately, pretty soon, over 2,000 people will be laid off.
Oh, wait. I forgot. My favorite fucking part of this, and it won't be in this clip. If anybody wants to go back and watch, it's hilarious. This guy goes, the 2,000 people are going to get laid off, because just the economic policies and stuff, and da-da-da. And then Trump digs down and goes like, what's going to happen to the factory? Well, and the guy goes, well, the factory's still going to be there. They just stopped making this the F-200 or whatever, I don't know what the truck was he was talking about. And he goes, well, what'll happen to the workers? Are they just going to have, and he goes, well, they'll probably get moved to other factories and stuff like that, and or to another division. They're being laid off. That truck is being discontinued, but the workers are being moved to other lines to do the same fucking job. Not at all.
It's redistribution of the workforce.
Yeah, just moving it to a product that sells. It's the stupidest fuck. Oh my God. Like, it's so good though.
Please don't make me listen to that.
I won't.
My brain has been crying enough.
Yeah. Trump will Trump digs into it and just regrets it instantly. He keeps asking, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And you're like, and you could almost tell everybody was like, stay away. Don't ask, dum-dum.
From my plant that I worked at for 25 years. And
no, it's terrible. Okay, I get it.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
We can't take 4 more years, Harris. And my question to you is basic. It's easy. What is one of your all-time favorite American cars?
My all-time favorite what?
What is one of your all-time favorite American cars?
Okay, so.
All right. Now, I don't know about you.
Oh boy.
I don't know about you, but I would say that, like, that question is specific to the 68 Camaro or the Trans Am, the like 78, 79 Trans Am run, or maybe you're an MR2 guy. Yeah, right. Something like that, right? That's what he's talking. That's what that guy is asking. That guy's asking, like, what if you look at a car? Is it a Lamborghini? That's obviously not an American car, but you know what I mean. Like, is there a
Did you lose your virginity in the back of a Chevrolet on a sweet summer night?
They make Corvettes in Kentucky, so in Bowling Green there's a Corvette plant. So everybody in Kentucky will say Corvette a lot of times, right? So that's the question. Let's be abundantly clear.
Come on,
let's go.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's going 67 GTO, exactly. Like, fucking hell, the 68 Camaro's in better off dead.
Normal people can answer this question.
Right, can answer this question. Yes, especially if they've had one, right? You might go back
especially if you're an American.
Oh my God, if you could just go, I used to drive like my dad had an Alfa Romeo Spider he bought from a guy on the cheap, and the guy used to stock race it, and so the gas pedal had been taken out, and this guy put a plunger in the side of it so he could drive and shift
a normal story.
by pulling it. Yeah. And so it was a 5-speed.
Doesn't have a driver's license, by the way.
It's the exact car.
Who's never driven a car.
Yes. It's the exact car in Fletch that he steals. So if you want to see what car, my first car I drove, it's the car that Fletch stole. It's a tan Alfa Romeo Spider, right? And so I could tell you stories about, and because I only pulled the plunger once. They put the regular gas pedal back in when he sold it, but the plunger was still there, and I was on the fucking 94, and I was like, I wonder if this, and I pulled it, and it literally locked into place, just gunned, and I was going like 107 down the, I'm like Jesus Christ, and I'm hammering this fucking thing with my fist to try to get it to go back down, and it basically just like clicked, and then it went back down. I was like, oh, it was, that's a real experience,
so
right?
What does the sundowning motherfucker say?
So his answer to
about cars.
What's your all-time favorite American car? Here we go. That's and I'm sure you have a similar story about a car that you had that was tricky or needed some work or whatever. Here he goes.
Oh, my father was a great guy. I learned so much from him, and he loved Cadillac. I have to.
First off, I want.
That's it.
That's his father, not him.
Right.
His father loved Cadillacs.
His father had a driver's license. His father could fucking drive. Donald Trump can't drive a car. Melania Trump told this fucking apocryphal bullshit story about how on one of their first dates they drove down to New Jersey together, and it was just the two of them in the car the whole time, and nobody. And like you were in the back of the fucking car. You had a driver, dummy. He didn't drive the car. He can't drive.
He can't drive a car. He can barely drive a golf cart. So no. He's nothing about him is
My
real.
dad liked Cadillac, but I don't like mosquitoes.
I'm telling you, he is days away from setting up a 3-card Monte table outside of Trump Tower to make a couple of bucks. He is he's literally at the end of whatever rope is left. And let's also, as we're wrapping up here, remember, Judge Tanya Chutkan is going to keep doing her shit this month, all through October. Surprise! All the way up to the election. Jack Smith was allowed to file his extended brief, which is like 180 pages. When normal briefs are like 25 or under 50 pages.
Yeah, there's a 40-page limit normally. He asked for it.
He got special permission from Judge Tanya Chutkan to keep just adding all this information to this file, and we're going to find out all of it. So as we move forward, just remember, everything Donald Trump tells you is a lie and a smokescreen because he's scared. He is scared to debate Kamala Harris. He's scared to lose the election because he's scared of getting sentenced on November 26th. Let's not be cocky, though. We all need to show up and vote. And vote blue down ballot. And tomorrow night, Coach Walz is going to obliterate J.V. Vance, a.k.a. Vladimir Futon. It's going to be beautiful. So when we meet again, we can talk about that. And all of the delightful one-liners the coach is going to drop on JD because JD doesn't know how to talk to people. And he's coming in. I don't care what his debate prep was. They had Pete Buttigieg playing JD Vance in Tim Walz's prep. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah, and Alina Habba for JD Vance.
And Alina Habba, give me a fucking break. And all of the MAGA bots out there yesterday trying to trend that Tim Walz is afraid to debate JD Vance. Give me a motherfucking break.
Right.
Coach Walz is not afraid of anything, honey. Coach Wells is not afraid to debate J.D. Vance. Give me a fucking break.
Right.
No, in no way. In no way. And if you want to have a discussion about that, I'm on Twitter at Tara Dublin Rocks. You can also read my Substack, buy my book. I'm at, I think, hey, thumbs up. I think, hey, look, Hal has it. I'm going to bring Mark Hamill a copy when I come down to LA in November.
Good idea.
But also, we've had a couple of other people announced for that Sexy Liberal show who have
Adam
joined,
Schiff?
including yesterday. Yes, I had dinner the other night with my son Jack, who loves The West Wing, and when I told him that President Jed Bartlett is going to be joining, that I impressed my son. I'm going to be in the same room with Mark Hamill and Martin Sheen. I won motherhood the other day. So all of it is positive and goodness and glory. And I am going to be getting my own podcast very soon. So all good things are happening. All good things are happening. Let's try to have a good week. And by the end of this week, maybe we'll even have Kamala Harris ahead of Donald Trump by more than 7 points. We'll see. We'll see.
And boy, will that make you think he's spinning? You think he's spinning out now?
Oh! Give me more of that shade and Freude. I have a bottomless pit in me.
Right.
I can eat all the vodka shot and Freude and then some. Don't be fooled.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, let's buy my book.
Yeah.
Buy my book. It's all about that. It's all about that.
And subscribe to her Substack.
I love you guys.
Love you. Thanks so much.
Bye. See you next week. Bye-bye.
There she goes, ladies and gentlemen, Tara Dublin, even through the technological difficulties I had this morning, and I'm going to restart my computer after this one, so I shouldn't have any of those issues going into the next one. Just it happens when I have a lot of tabs open, and especially when my computer starts, I guess, getting acid reflux from all the bullshit from Trump stuff. This is. Let me show you an example. If I may.
And nobody thought that was.
Hold on. This is Trump explaining how his tariffs will work, folks. And chat room, hit that like, give a thumbs up, support the show. It is the greatest live stream ever. I forgot to mention that, but I shouldn't have to because it's amazing that way. Check this out real quick. This is from the same town hall I was showing that other clip from. This is him explaining how his tariffs are going to work and how, well, you'll see.
Plus, we're lowering the tax rate. So I took it from 39% to 21%. These are for companies, and that's why we had the great numbers for jobs. But now what I'm doing is I'm going, and nobody thought that was possible, and I got it approved by Congress, believe it or not.
By the way, it was Mitch McConnell's tax plan. He just signed it. He didn't come up with it. It was always there. That's what they'd been wanting to do forever. Look back at any of the tax cut proposals from the Republican Party. That's what they wanted. As soon as they had the House and the Senate and he was in charge, boom, there you go.
Now we're going to...
That's what they used their political leverage on right after the election. 21
to 15%, but you have to make your product in the USA. So if you want to take advantage of the low tax rate, you have to make your product. So we'll be down to 15%.
Also, by the way, 15% tax rate for corporations. They're going to cut it. But you have to make your product in the USA. You know what that means? Does anybody know what that means? You know what that means? That means import and export oriented businesses like Amazon and other stuff like that, or even Apple and that kind of stuff, will be hit by the cost-benefit analysis of the tax benefit versus making it overseas or assembling it someplace else and that kind of stuff. But real estate companies and real estate developers will automatically, without any extra paperwork, it seems, get a 15% tax break. Isn't that weird? For whatever, and by the way, they don't have to build the buildings that are in other countries in this country because that doesn't make any sense. It would just be for properties inside the United States. So Donald Trump's industry and his real estate buddies will automatically get a 15% tax rate while everybody else will have to move their factories. Anybody who actually produces anything. But if you just buy up buildings and resell them, you're going to be paying a 15% tax rate, whereas any company that produces something will have to either argue part of it or file different stuff or get a partial tax break on some things, but not on others. If they get a piece of something, like, I'll give you an example. Trump watches are Swiss made. That's what he says. They're Swiss made. Well, no, they're not. They're assembled. They are fabrique au Chine, as they say. They are made in China. But the factory in China buys like 2 gears from Switzerland, and they install them, and that is enough to qualify for Swiss made when it comes to these cheap knockoff watches. See how that works? So his watches aren't made in China. They're Swiss made. Yeah, they have Swiss pieces. It's like Swiss cheese. Yeah, Swiss made in China, right? So his watches, by the way, all of his little business, that he sells, and by the way, NFTs, 15%. Bitcoin bullshit, 15%. Anything you don't physically fucking make, software, how you gonna prove that was fabricated someplace, right? I mean, it's just bullshit.
That gives us one of the lowest tax rates in the whole world, so it's more than competitive. Companies will come here, but in addition to that,
yeah, you know why other countries don't? You know why companies don't have to pay higher taxes in those other countries? Because those countries don't protect their intellectual property rights. Those countries don't have navies patrolling the fucking waterways, making sure that their shipments get from wherever they're coming to wherever they're going, even if it's from the United States to someplace else. They make it here and they ship it someplace else. It is the American taxpayer who pays for that service. They don't have to pay a Navy fee in their fucking shipping. You make an American car and you ship it overseas, you think you pay, he doesn't think you should pay any taxes at all. Well, who the fuck pays the salary of the soldiers and the Navy people and the helicopter pilots and all the people who operate on there and all the tech crew and the seamen? Right? You do, whether you use that product or not. And you will pay a higher tax rate than those export companies in the United States that are using more of the services, including not to mention the post office, but the fucking Navy itself. Jesus Christ.
That we're going to keep this really terrible competition. I don't mind the word competition, but it's predatory, and we're going to keep this competition out so that you're able to grow your business and grow it well, and you'll make the product and you'll sell it inside our country. And I know exactly what your situation is, and it's so easy to solve.
By the way, it's so easy to solve. He had 4 years to do it and he couldn't. And it's been going on for a long time, but it's a big problem now. But he could have solved it so fast, and it's so easy, and all you got to do is one thing, and it fixes it, and it's permanently fixed. But he didn't do it then, even though it's been going on for decades, and he was president between this moment and whenever this awful started that he's pretending exists. That's whatever. Why didn't you? And his big thing, why didn't she fix it in the last 3 years? Never mind the fact that she's vice president. This motherfucker was president. I don't want to hear anything about long-term trade problems that were existing that you can fix so fucking fast and you can reshore these factories, because it didn't fucking happen. Matter of fact, he slowed our COVID response so he could make a better deal with the Chinese for stuff that's made over there.
We're going to need the help of the Senate. We're going to need the help of the House. And if they won't do it, I have the authorization and the power to do it myself, and we'll have to do it. Okay?
Then why do you need the House and the Senate? If the president, again, stroke of the pen fallacy, look at his face. He knows he's talking out of his ass. This is gibberish. I don't need them, but, you know, I need them, but I don't really need them, and I'll make them do it, but if they won't do it, I'll do it really fast, even though I could have done it really fast with apparently by myself without the House and the Senate, and I didn't, because, I don't know, fuck you. Was that the reason? And, again, oddly gropey, and here we go. This is... I'll find one more of the clips from that thing. Or is it? This is the same thing. Oh.
As you heard, my name is Tony. Our company is based here in the U.S. We melt steel and we make automotive parts out of ductile iron for brake components, axle components. And those are made for the big three here. Sadly, though, we're losing jobs to China, India, Mexico.
No, they're not. They aren't. We were losing jobs when outsourcing was in its heyday, early 2000s. It started to kind of ebb a little bit because they moved basically all the jobs they can move. But a lot of reshoring is happening. This dude's company is busy as fuck. One of the reasons why they're sourcing some of their materials from other factories outside the country is because this guy's factory can't keep up because they just don't have the volume for the demand.
And it's become more difficult to compete. Manufacturers like us, we are some of the largest users of energy, and under Harris and Biden, the energy costs have tripled. So my question is, what will you do to get energy back down so let's...
Drill, baby, drill, I guess. Why did they triple? Oh, because the whole world was shut down, and so they cadavered into negative territory. And so, hey, real quick, what's 3 times -2? Yeah.
U.S. manufacturers can...
Tripled.
Compete and bring it back to the job.
Well, we can do it so fast, and we were going to do it so fast, but they wouldn't let us do it so fast. We could have done it right after the election, but I just said, fuck it.
Yeah, so it's a great question. A lot of people have the same question because it's affecting.
Because these are set up questions to try to keep you on topic, because they know you fuck up the debates, so they're trying to do cleanup by presenting these questions so you can answer them again, and you still egg it.
Their companies. What we're doing is, I said about the energy.
Also, what the fuck is up with his hair? What's happening? What was he napping right before, or was there a strong breeze? Is this digital artifacting because he's actually CGI?
As to what we do and how we do it. But China's coming in, and you said Mexico. Mexico's a big threat now. Mexico's taking a lot of your business, and we're not going to let that happen. We need a smart series of tariffs and taxes.
I'm sorry, USMCA says what?
Russia, and it's very simple business. You auto parts and things like that, right? We're going to.
There's weird edits that when they post these
bring
things.
that all back to this country. It's all coming back. If
yeah, it is under Biden.
They had to pay tariffs on what they're doing and what they're selling into our country. They wouldn't be putting your business out of business if that's where you're going.
You wouldn't be putting your business out of business if that's where you're going. I mean, on that note, chat room, I will see you later this afternoon. Obviously, this is a man who knows more about the economy than the economists do. He knows more about terrorism than the ISIS does. He knows more about the Death Star than the Empire does. And he knows more about spray tans than, I guess, the Mr. Universe pageant spray tanners does. Whatever it is, whoever it is, whatever you bring up, he knows more about it than the people who actually do it all the time. But asking him to talk about it in any specific terms or actually in a way that makes sense is a gotcha, and you should be ashamed of yourself and fake news. And it's because of all those anchors in the back. By the way, he at that same thing, he referenced the anchors in the back of the room. There are no anchors at his rallies. They're local camera people filming it. So, just there. Yeah. Good times. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'll see you later this afternoon. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Wait, I made a... Is this the button that does it? I don't know. Dear God, it's the kidney.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Ah, I was not aware of that. It's true, though.